You want an October surprise? You got an October surprise. Former Hawaii Democrat Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard going scorched earth on the donkeys, announcing she's leaving the Democrat Party because she's disgusted with its direction. How on earth do some top Dems still think they can hold the House majority? Congresswoman Gabbard has been a thorn in the side of the establishment and Democrats for a long time. Early in her congressional career in 2013, she served as the vice chair of the Democratic National Committee. But over the years, she began to stray from liberal orthodoxy. She blasted Justice Department corruption. She cheered the overturn of Roe v. Wade. And she did not vote to impeach President Trump, instead voting present at his trial. Earlier today, Tulsi dropped the bomb. Watch this.
I can no longer remain in today's Democratic Party that's under the complete control of an elitist cabal of warmongers who are driven by cowardly wokeness, who divide us by racializing every issue and stoking anti-white racism. I believe in a government that's of the people, by the people, and for the people. Unfortunately, today's Democratic Party does not. Instead, it stands for a government that is of, by, and for the powerful elite. Now, I'm calling on my fellow common sense, independent-minded Democrats to join me in leaving the Democratic Party.
Independent with a capital I, Tulsi has not said whether she'll become a Republican. I don't think she has to. I do think it's safe to say she's not getting invited to Nancy Pelosi's 300th birthday at the French Laundry. Not because she's wrong. It's because she's right. Everything she's saying there, it's true. They are elitists. They are no longer representative of their constituents, and the woke nonsense is poison. Despite that, California Congressman Adam Schiff, Schifferbrains, says he's confident Democrats will win the House. That's fun. And uber-liberal filmmaker Michael Moore now predicting Dems will win in a blue tsunami. That's only if he jumps in the shallow end of the pool. Who is correct? Those two ding-dongs or Tulsi Gabbard? Let's get into it with tonight's party panel. We've got he is the host of the Jason Rantz Show on KTTH in Seattle. He is the architect of the Space Needle. Jason Rantz is back. We've also got Democrat strategist. She's a radio host. She's a Fox News contributor. Leslie Marshall is back. She's got a thing or two to say about this. And we've got author and Reason senior editor Robby Soave. Buy all of his books now for your library. Just in time for the holidays, including Halloween. Welcome, everyone. Jason, I will start with you. Where do you think Tulsi goes from here in terms of party? And is it important that she makes some sort of partisan declaration?
I don't think she has to make a partisan declaration at this point, because I think the point she's trying to make is that the Democratic Party has just gone so far to the left. It's not a shock that someone like Tulsi, or frankly, like just everyday Democrats, would say, okay, this party has gone way, way, way too far to one side. That when you decide to say that, you know, we're going to be pro-criminal, we're going to endorse abortion up until the baby's first cry, that we're going to take the stances we have taken on gender to the point where we're not even willing to define what a woman is, I think most people on the Democrat side are saying to themselves, yeah, she's now speaking to me. Does this mean that maybe ultimately she's going to run for something outside of what she did in Congress? Maybe, but I think right now what she's trying to do is save the party. And I think as a Republican, I want to have a sane Democrat Party. I won't like the two-party system because frankly, it keeps Republicans in check. And I think that any time one party has too much power, it causes problems for our democracy.
Well, I think anytime two parties have too much power, it really causes problems for our democracy. And that's what we're seeing right now. That's why I would like to see her remain independent and, you know, sort of bash the establishment in both corners right now, Leslie. So it's interesting because it's not a sure thing in terms of the House races for Democrats. Really anything but. Republicans don't have to pick up a lot of seats. And it is the independents that hold the cards in this election. 61% of polled independents say the economy is the #1 issue they're voting on.
There's so much to say on this. I know I don't have tons and tons of time, but that's the #1 issue for everybody. It doesn't matter if you're an independent, a Democrat, or a Republican. Obviously, close seconds come for Arizona, Texas, other border states immigration. Then you have other states like Colorado, where you see abortion a second issue. But Tulsi Gabbard, I have to say, I'm not trying to be snarky here, but at first when they were like, Tulsi Gabbard left the Democratic Party, I'm a Democrat, and I was like, Is she still a part of it? I thought she left like a long time ago. So this is my takeaway from this. 1, somebody needs attention and more likes on Twitter. 2, she will be an independent. She said independent-minded or independent thinking. And 3, my prediction is she becomes the new Ralph Nader, and she runs as an independent. She wanted to be president. She tried to get the Democratic nomination and failed. She clearly doesn't see the Democratic Party doing it for her. I don't think the Republican Party will either. So I think she's going to run as an independent. Whatever she runs for, who knows? It could even be trying to become president again.
All right, so Robby, were you surprised by the condescending reaction from a lot of Democrats, you know, similar to what Leslie just said? Like, I didn't even know she was a Democrat anymore. She doesn't even go here. So what does it say when Democrats and Republicans are just as excited as one another about someone leaving the Democrat Party?
I mean, it's bad news for the Democrats. When I hear them say, oh, good, we didn't want her anyway. Well, who do you have left? They did the same thing to Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan said he was a Bernie Sanders supporter, and then so many Democrats, at least in the media, act like they're embarrassed to be associated with him. So then over time, he becomes friendlier to some aspects of the Republican Party, and then they're mad about that, too. The one thing I did want to say about Tulsi, though, in addition to that, is I'm actually struck by so much that actually hasn't changed about what she thinks. It's that the parties have changed. You know, she has been denouncing regime change and foreign entanglements and a kind of neoconservative policy agenda for years. She was denouncing that back when that was kind of a left-wing position, or, you know, there was some criticism of that in the Democratic Party. Now we're in a place where the Democratic Party is marching, the representatives, not the actual people, but the representatives are marching lockstep in line with a kind of interventionism with Ukraine, with endless support, endless financial support for this war. It is the Republican Party, a minority of it, but the only opposition to the Ukraine, to endless funding of the Ukraine effort is from the Republican Party. So in that sense, the parties have changed, not Tulsi. She said the same thing all the way along.
So that's interesting then, Jason, because, you know, she does hold a lot of cards here. Do you think the timing is meant to do damage to Democrats this close to the midterms?
I do. The question just is she doing it to save the Democratic Party, or is she doing it purely for her own political ambitions? And the truth is, it's probably a little bit of both. Look, the Democrats going so far to the left, her coming out right now, right before the midterms, basically is telling other voters, hey, it's okay. You're probably feeling what I'm feeling right now about this party, and you don't just have to vote with Democrats. You can go ahead and take that risk and vote for someone else who's more a reflection of your values. And to Leslie's point, it's not just about the economy. If you're a Democrat who right now is in Arizona or Texas, there's a lot on the line if you embrace Democrats who effectively want an open border, or at least are acting that way. And so I think she's just giving everyone the green light to say, hey, go ahead and vote with your brain as well as your heart. And both are telling you Democrats right now are just too extreme.
Yeah, and there are a lot of people who feel that way. And there are a lot of people who say, this isn't why I signed up to be a Democrat. We're supposed to help people, but what they're doing is very counterintuitive to that and actually quite harmful. She made some really important points, and I hope the discussion continues without completely shutting her down.